Hey, guys.
Why?
Hey.
Hello.
Were you just singing, Yankee?
YMCA. I don't know why.
He's Donald Trump.
Earworm. Anyway.
Anything but.
Yeah.
Anyone but.
Anyone but. Yeah.
So you guys doing well?
That's RFK.
Yes.
But anyway.
It has gone to RFK. We're really good. We're really good.
Hey,
right?
everyone. Welcome back.
Yeah, Pat, you're good. You're raring to go.
I am.
World headquarters is right on the money once again.
Yep.
Absolutely.
First things first, Aki. Let's
Yes.
welcome back our viewers and listeners.
Welcome back, viewers, listeners. Just love to
Thank them for their continued support.
And please continue to support us. Please continue to send in your comments, your recommendations for possible topics. We really enjoy that.
And what else?
And you're just the greatest fans that any stars could possibly.
What else?
Like
commit.
And subscribe.
And like and subscribe. That's the polite version. And of course, we have now the more raw. No, we're not going to do the raw.
Done. No.
We're done with the raw version.
We're done.
Guys. So that's
we're
it.
Done.
So
we're done.
Yeah, we moved up a notch here. So it's all polite and very civil.
Yes.
Thank you very
please
much.
Subscribe.
Please subscribe.
Bunch of fuckers.
So, guys, we've tackled a number of more serious topics over the last little while. Some
Heady.
heady. Oh, I thought you were going to say Haiti, given the number of haters we heard from.
Haiti. I think it's a new word, but Haiti.
Heady.
Why don't we tackle something a little lighter today?
I heard Haiti.
Lighter, okay.
Lighter, yes.
Lighter.
Yeah.
Well, at least I think it's lighter.
Let's do it. What do we got?
Let's discuss the life of pets. You know, there's so many people today who are,
The life of pets.
well, they're leading miserable lives.
Yes.
Yes.
And I can't help but notice at times when I'm out and about that there are people with pets, oftentimes a dog,
Oot in a boot.
out and about. And that dog is, at least if I base myself on appearances, living the life of luxury.
Yeah.
Oh,
In a stroller, right?
Well, it could be in a stroller.
Oftentimes,
Yeah,
right?
in a stroller.
Yeah.
Wearing a little winter jacket and booties. And,
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
and it made me think that there are certain pets that are much better off than human beings. So I thought it'd be fun to talk about the life of pets.
It's because they're easier to get along with.
Well, they may be. They may be.
So now we understand why.
There we understand Dominic's philosophy of life. Right there.
They don't give you any lip. Eh? They don't give you any lip.
Yeah, exactly.
Or they
So
do if
let's
you put
start-
peanut butter on it.
We need to start by agreeing on the definition. What is a pet?
Well, a pet is obviously an animal that lives with you,
So domesticated animal.
domesticated, that you feed,
Non-human.
Preferably one that's tamed,
tamed, you take care of, you feed, you.
provides companionship.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because if not, we can get into, there are people who have crocs or who have wild cats or who have... those aren't
Tarantulas.
pets, right?
Okay, let's how about cats and dogs? I mean, let's get
start with cats
let's
and
get
dogs.
let's get basic,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
You know.
what about here?
Have any of you ever owned or currently own a pet?
I currently have 2 cats.
I had a
So
turtle
the
when
answer
I
is no.
4. That's good. That's right.
Sorry, cat lovers.
That's the way it is with
He
cats.
has 2 cats.
Not 2.
Okay,
should've brought my hat.
2 cats. We'll get to your 2 cats soon. Naran,
I'm about to sneeze. Okay, so
are you allergic to pets?
Currently.
actually, yes, I found that I have a light allergic reaction to cats. Actually, probably the dander, the cat dander.
And now we're discovering you're also allergic to discussion or conversation.
No,
pertaining to
I'm
pets.
allergic to you guys.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
As is most of the world, from what I could tell from the number of views we got lately. Get off your asses. Okay. Oh, sorry, I wasn't supposed to do that. Okay.
Get a grip.
I'm gripping it right now.
Too much information.
Both hands. So
Down they go again, the hand. Sorry.
So yeah, I had a Shih Tzu. Our family had a Shih Tzu when my older son was about 2 years old. We got her a little Shih Tzu named Muffin, who was fantastic for the kids and who the kids loved dearly, and was terrible. She lived to be 15 actually.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
kidding.
and yeah, it was super difficult to see her off. So they become part of the family. I can understand the love of pets. I can understand people, spoiling their pets. what becomes a little bit over the top for me is when that spoiling goes over the top, and becomes a little bit too much. So we can discuss what that means for most of us, but yeah, I definitely had a pet, and was very much enamored by the pet when we had her. So
Okay. Aki?
I had a turtle when I was 4 years old in the old country.
that
Oh, that
explains
explains so much. So much.
I'm bearing my
Wow.
soul. You're welcome.
Wow.
Bearing my soul. Jump on, pile on. Let's go. A turtle.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's because
a lowly
it's a
turtle.
socialist turtle because it had its house on its back.
And very slow.
Was it homeless? No.
Couldn't be.
Yes, it was. It never came
Well,
inside.
that's why he has zero tolerance.
It never came inside. So yes, it was always outdoors. So yes, by
In the winter?
definition. In the old country, there wasn't much of a winter. I don't know what it did
okay.
in the winter. I didn't see it in the winter. So it was a.
Is that because your parents didn't allow it in the house?
Who knows? Who knows?
Well,
We never
they-
talked
they
very
would
much
know.
about it. Then one day it disappeared. I don't know what happened to
Well,
it.
if you left it,
He
outside
ran
on its
away.
I think
own.
we came. I
He
think,
ran away.
I'm sure. I hope we found a decent home for it when we came to Canada.
But that's when you were a young kid.
I was 4 years old. It was
See,
just,
today he
Yeah.
would have been adopted by a pet shelter. They would have found adoptive parents. Yeah, all that. stuff.
No, I think it died because of a
So-
straw in its nose.
would have its own
So
loft.
when your kids were younger, and
No.
you never brought
No.
pets into the house.
No, we never brought
Interesting.
pets in.
You deprived them of the pleasure and the experience.
You bet. You bet.
Other than me,
You're the only animal in the family?
yeah, I think so.
Okay.
So as a kid growing up, we had quite a few. Unfortunately, we weren't very lucky with our dogs, but we had, I'm going to say 6 or 7.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So they didn't last
That's
very
serious.
long. It's very serious. Either illnesses or running away or a number of different factors.
Were you
But-
near a
but I
Chinese
love dogs.
restaurant?
No. So when our kids were younger,
Racist.
when our kids were younger, we started off with a pet rabbit. I don't advise it.
No.
Terrible experience.
Because then you had 10 pet rabbits the week after?
And then we graduated to a beautiful golden retriever who we had the pleasure of having as part of the family for 9.5 years.
Oh,
Then unfortunately got cancer, and that was a
Okay.
sad event for the family, for the entire family.
Yeah, no kidding. They become part of the family.
And now my middle daughter would tell you I'm a grandparent to a grandpuppy.
Rex.
So Rex, who you have met.
Yes, we have.
And so Rex
What a
has become...
huge name.
Yes, well,
For a
he's the
little-
exact opposite.
For a little dog.
So I see him infrequently, but it certainly puts a smile on my face every time he visits or they visit.
Oh, he's trans.
Meaning he's accompanied by my daughter, you foolish man.
Sorry. I didn't realize. I thought you had a trans dog. I'm sorry.
Just be a cat.
Anyway,
Talk about taking the bait.
so yes, I've had a lot of experience with dogs. I would tell you that as a kid, and when Lisa and I made the decision to bring a dog into our family, we treated our pets as pets.
Okay.
Rex, my daughter's beloved little one, is not treated like a pet. I would say he's probably treated better than most human beings are.
That's because, Pat, when you had your golden retriever, you already had your kids. Right?
Well, but even before having kids, I would tell you, to me,
yeah.
Look, I adore dogs. I always have.
Yeah.
I treat them very well, but I would never treat a pet the way I treat a human being.
Thank you.
I wouldn't.
So you wouldn't put them in your will, for example.
For example, I wouldn't put them in my will. I wouldn't
clear that up.
dress them
Yeah.
in clothing that is specific to the time of year or climate.
Would they eat at the table with you? Just asking for a friend.
No, they had their own place to eat. And a well-behaved dog may sit or lie by the table while the
And not beg.
human beings are eating.
Yeah.
But otherwise, no. I mean, to me, very affectionate with my pets and got a lot of affection back from them. Wonderful experience.
So
But I stopped short of treating them as humans.
so you wouldn't take your dog. Let's say you were going out with your family to a restaurant. You wouldn't take the dog with you. Or?
No, when we went out, unless it was to walk the dog or go on a trek of some kind outdoors,
That's different.
the dog stayed home.
Okay.
But it was also different back then. I mean, the question is, I guess, if you had him or her now, what would you do?
No, I wouldn't. Well, I wouldn't change.
Well, why would he?
Yeah,
change?
exactly. When you say it's different back then,
Yeah.
why would you say
I think
that?
there was more of a divide between pets and their owners, and now I think it's more.
I think it started with
more fluid.
with Paris Hilton, and the little teacup kind of pet that she would have in her little bag
That accompanies you everywhere.
that accompanies you everywhere. Where you start treating that that little tiny puppy or tiny dog as a family member or as an extended member of your family, and I think it had. So I think the trend towards treating pets like humans or like family
Yeah.
has started with social media, as well as the affluence or the general affluence of North Americans having the money to spend. Because if you don't have enough money to spend on your family, you're definitely not going to be spending that money on
I
your
completely
dog.
disagree with you.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I know of specific
Yeah,
examples
and I'll give you examples too.
of where.
Really? Okay.
Yes,
that's-
yes.
Okay, so that would be my
No.
assumption, and
No.
and I guess I'm off the mark.
It would
Okay.
be illogical.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's,
But
that-
but it's not a logical thing.
No.
It's highly emotional for people.
Yeah.
okay. So social media and affluence. So social media.
Social media,
You
yes.
agree with affluence? You don't.
No, not at all.
It has nothing to do with the money you have.
I've seen too many examples
Wow.
of people who
Okay.
don't have significant means.
and they still.
Oh
treat
my
their-
gosh! Oh my gosh! From
Okay.
the food that they select for the dog, to the clothing for the dog,
Okay.
to
Pray tell.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's incredible.
when I was working with homeless youth, and the pets were a very very big part of their circle and of their life, and these were young people who it broke your heart to see how they didn't take care of themselves. They weren't very good at that, but the pet got like top of the whatever they could, like some of the squeegees that were a big issue, and we would always ask.
So squeegee kids that would make
Squeegee
money
kids that
by,
would make
by
money
cleaning
would buy
windshields. Okay.
would buy food for the pet.
That's sweet.
Would try to get them to the vet. It was really it was mind-boggling.
Which
You would
is
not
the right
expect
thing
it.
to do.
Which we would not expect it. I mean, there's so much suffering going on. Why you didn't expect
sweet.
for them to have that instinct? And
That's
there it was.
sweet. It's the
So
right thing
which
to
goes
do.
and tells you, about the I guess the emotional attachment.
Yeah, and the
that-
humanity.
and the humanity that
Yeah.
that a pet can generate, which is wonderful.
Yeah. That is-
Well, it's interesting, and there are also examples of people who should never own a pet.
Absolutely.
So every year, the number of people
Sorry.
who
the Chinese restaurants just keep coming in.
oh my gosh, stop it with the
I know.
stereotype.
I'm sorry, guys. I know I'm completely off. Yeah.
The number of people who actually abandon their pets.
Oh yeah.
So they'll leave a dog,
Yes.
for instance.
Yeah, that's heartbreaking.
Tied to a lamppost or in a apartment building lobby.
That's heartbreaking.
It's these people have no business owning pets.
Especially dogs, they adore their masters. I mean,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
even if they're abused by them, it's their master. It's because a dog, he's your best friend, for part of your life, but you're his best friend for all his life.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's a lovely way of putting it.
Yeah.
Unconditional.
Yeah, so it's like
Yeah.
conditional love. That's you don't get that from a human being.
So what did they bring? I mean, in your case, Pat, what did they bring to your life?
A number of different things. I think that done the right way, a dog that's introduced to a family that has young children starts to teach young people about responsibility, because a pet has to be cared for.
Yeah.
It has to be fed. It has to be walked. It has to be groomed. It has to be taken care of.
Yeah.
I think for some people, it also illustrates what I would call a level of unconditional love. It's like these pets don't know any better. And my impression of cats is very different, but I'll say with many dogs or dog breeds, that it truly is unconditional. and that's a coin that has two sides. I think that unfortunately, to your earlier comments, Dominic, some people mistreat their pets, and the pet is still there, in admiration. But for people who are very giving and caring of their pets, what they get back in return is wonderful. And there are no strings attached, unlike some of their so-called friends or even relatives who may only care for them under the right conditions.
So in my case, it was 2 stray kittens that we around the house, outside, that we were able to catch. So at least, because, if they stay stray, the most they can hope is live 2 years.
And your neighbor never noticed when you took them in?
No, those, they were kittens. So at least we give them a nice life,
How many years have you had them?
10 years now.
Wow,
10 years, yeah. So, so that's, and there, look, there's a hard beating in there, So
No, for sure.
It's
for sure. And unfortunately, I think that there's, again, like most things in our society, it's become an industry. So this is where, for instance, there are people who are breeding.
Yeah, puppy mills.
It's terrible. Terrible what happens.
My pet peeve right now is vets, the vet bills.
No pun intended.
No,
But they're capitalizing
yeah,
on the fact that people are so attached
exactly.
and will spare no expense.
It's getting ridiculous.
Well, I don't think it's getting. I think it has
is,
been for a
it
while.
It's for a while, but now after the pandemic, it's worse.
So again, this begs the question. You get awfully, and this is where I make the distinction between a pet and a human being, a family member. Yeah. To me, there's a financial limit in terms of how much I'm prepared to invest. To keep the pet in of course it's hard.
It's hard.
So if something happened to one of the kittens, and let's say it became diabetic and now it needs insulin shots, and you have to now basically get this, and it costs $500 a month for insulin shots, and you have to do it every day. Is that something like? What's the dollar amount where you would say screw it?
What? I don't know. I would have to read the situation. Maybe I shouldn't give that example, but my daughter, one of my daughters, has a cat who was sick lately.
Mm-hmm.
She's up to $14,000.
Sure.
14,000
Over what
of
period
course.
of time are we talking about?
It goes very quickly.
It was a period of, let's say, 2.5 months.
Oh my God!
Look,
Is this a cat?
I know.
well, listen, my daughter's
do
dog
differently.
broke his leg at a very early age.
Okay.
Very early. He was months old.
Wow, that's too
It
bad.
was terrible.
Okay. So did she get another one?
No, no.
This is not Rex.
I
2?
believe it cost her somewhere in the order of $7,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you freaking kidding me?
No.
No, these days it's ridiculous.
What?
One of my cats was limping.
Sorry, that was the medical bill. That was the vet bill.
Yeah.
Then, of course, she had to buy a stroller
Yeah.
because he couldn't walk. So,
Oh my God.
Right?
7,000 for a broken leg on a dog?
yeah.
One day, one of the cats was limping. My wife takes him into the vet. $800.
My God.
He stopped limping 2
But-
days after.
I know, and I'm wondering
Wow.
the whole
X-rays, anesthetics, surgery, and on and on and on.
Overnight
it goes.
stay.
Yeah, all of it.
It's crazy.
What do you think your hospital bill would look like if you had to pay out of your pocket?
Oh my God.
No,
No, but I'm shocked.
Yeah.
I mean, this is for
Well, that-
little puppy. Man.
But
That's all-
you don't have the really. I mean, sorry, Dominic, but do you really have the option of at some point saying no, I'm not going to pay anymore,
Yes.
and let them? You do have that option.
Yes.
Well, you
With all the
have-
attachment that you have to them.
Euthanize them.
This is where I make. Look, I'm not saying this is the right answer for everyone.
But you,
For me, there's a limit.
there's a limit.
So look, our dog, our golden, unfortunately, and we didn't realize it when we got him. He was born
What
with
was his name?
hip dysplasia.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? His name was Jake.
Yeah, but golden retrievers, that's common.
It's common, but we didn't realize he had it, right? So of course we called a breeder when we did discover that he had it, and the breeder, it's very simple. Well, no problem.
Just put him down. I'll give you another one.
No, we'll put him down and we'll send you another one. It's like no,
We want this one.
Now he was born with it. He didn't know any different, so he adapted, right? He lived his life, and in the end, and as he got older, of course, it became a little more difficult for him. But he never complained. But in the end, it was cancer that got him.
Yeah.
Right. But when he was diagnosed with cancer, it's like, okay, are we going to start performing surgeries and this and that? No, he's had a life, 9.5 years. It's terrible what's happened to him. Sad to see him go.
Yeah.
But it's his time. He's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. You almost have to also
A
make
human being, like a family member, I would
suffering.
spare no expense to try and save.
But with
a
my
family
brother,
member.
I don't know.
Yeah, with your brother, I don't know either.
Steve, if you're listening, if you get hip displaced,
Steve, I got your back, buddy.
Really? I don't think so. I don't think so.
He's a good man.
okay. So you don't. So for me, you kind of make the calculation of quality of life as well for the animal. It's like, an animal can't complain and can't tell you how much things are hurting. So if you go through surgery and, post-op and all of the, healing that has to happen, and you're only gaining like 2 or 3 months or, 6 months of life for this, for this animal, are you doing this animal a favor?
But you often don't know.
Well, that's my point.
You don't know.
But that's my point entirely, right? Oh, okay. You don't know how long they're going to live, or you don't know how much pain they're going to be.
You don't know how long they're going to live.
Or how much pain they're going to be in, unfortunately.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. So it's difficult to
My point is simply this. Whatever surgery you perform may or may not be successful.
Yeah. And then they're having to go through the surgery. They have to go through the post-surgery and the healing process, and it may not, get them any time at all. So in fact, you're causing pain, discomfort to this poor animal who doesn't know what's going on, and you're not really gaining anything.
Yeah. Well, look,
right? You're making the vet rich.
We knew of a family. They're great with animals. They've had at any given time, dogs, cats, multiple animals in the house, and they're wonderful, caring people. One of the dogs they had developed this terrible habit of swallowing socks. So whenever laundry was done or whatever, or he'd go sniffing in people's rooms, and he would eat socks.
Okay.
And at one point, the dog was in visible discomfort. They brought him in for X-rays. Right there, you're paying out a couple of bills, right? And they saw this mass and they said, "Oh my goodness, we think your dog may have cancer. It looks like a tumor." Well, they opened them up. It was socks
in his stomach,
right? So that surgery cost him, I think, $2,500 or so. Yeah. Well, the dog never learned his lesson. To him, it was like, "Hey, I see a sock. I like a sock. I'm going to eat the sock."
I have a cat like that.
And 2-3 surgeries later, they're complaining and saying, "Can you believe how stupid this dog is? And he's costing us a fortune. And it is the last time." But every time was the last time.
Stick a muzzle on the dog.
Well,
I have a cat like that. He used to swallow those pom-poms. It's the first time. We take him in, surgery, because it's stuck. So then maybe 6 months later, swallows another pom-pom. Take him in to do X-ray again. I go, "Can you put a zipper now?"
That's good. And what was the answer?
Wow. So surgery again. So like we're talking $4,000 later. 2 surgeries,
Oh my God! Do you still have that cat?
Yeah, he's still there. There's no more. Now we made sure there's no more pom-poms anywhere. But he eats everything. It's one of those cats. It's got pica. Pica, the disease that people, they eat everything like sofas.
Yeah, I think I have that.
Yeah. No, but this is serious stuff. So
I can attest based on the last time I saw you eat.
There you go.
Yeah, so that's it.
Should have left the tablecloth alone.
One logical way to look at the situation, like in your case, he was 9.5 years old. So a golden retriever.
11, 12.
Yeah, 11, 12. So
that was a good
It's like 90% he's lived his life. So
yeah, and I would say there are some people who wouldn't look at it that way.
I know.
Right? So I can only speak for myself. I do. I know other people don't. Just like I find the amount people spend on animal clothing, pet clothing. It's raining. They got to be wearing this, and by the way, I'm not insensitive. I understand that there are certain breeds that may struggle in very cold weather. You have to protect their paws.
I'm one of those.
From the freezing elements. Yeah, but it doesn't mean that you need 4 or 6 different pairs of booties to go out, depending.
Different outfits. Come on, you got to have different outfits.
Well,
so you can match with your pet.
So to me, the pet comes with its outfit.
To be
fur.
To be like you, Pat, you have to be strong.
Really?
Well, I mean, most people can't just say, "Okay, well, he's lived most of his life. It's over." let's move on. You know.
Yeah, but in his case, I think it was also a question of quality of life for the animal.
That's it, exactly. Cancer.
Yeah, but
is like
even despite that,
I mean, if it wasn't,
that's what,
if it
that's
wasn't,
what that says. That most people will say, "Well, I'd rather have a couple months." More.
so just to be clear, your position being that there's limits on.
Well,
how
I
much
didn't
you're willing to
play for
spend?
the surgery to try and correct the hip dysplasia. To me, it was
Okay.
and you know, Lisa and I discussed it. I mean, the kids were too young to be involved in the conversation. But for me, it's just a practical approach to virtually everything in my life. It's we're going to pay this many thousands of dollars for a surgery that may or may not correct the situation. Right? It's like he doesn't know any different. He doesn't.
Yeah. But I guess my question is, if there wasn't any suffering involved, then you're still going to kind of respect a certain ceiling in terms of expenditures or not? If there's,
I wouldn't spend thousands or tens of thousands of dollars to prolong the life of my pet.
That's hard. I mean,
I wouldn't.
It's hard to imagine that.
It is hard. It is hard, but I think that's the right way.
But and I said earlier, I mean, I love dogs. But they're not humans.
No.
But do you hate cats?
I don't hate cats.
Hate is a strong word.
I don't hate cats.
Them.
I don't like cats. Yeah. I would say there are a few cats I've met that I actually enjoyed.
Yes.
A few.
I agree with you.
But they're in the minority. Most cats that I've met, they're I don't know, overly independent, moody. It's their way.
Yep.
You describe most people I've ever met.
Well, that's why I don't care for most people either.
Do you like Catwoman?
Which one?
Yeah, which one? Yeah.
Michelle Pfeiffer?
But there are. I'm beginning to appreciate cats. I agree with you. And my first reaction toward cats. That's
That's good.
Yeah, that's nice. It's a new one. It's very nice. That's a very nice design.
Batman.
Yeah.
That's a question.
Yeah.
Is Batman really a superhero? He has no superpowers. But anyway, that's for another time.
So
another topic.
So my impression of cats, I'm not an expert at all, but my impression of cats is, and from what, in my family, I mean, that was the impression of cats. Dogs, where we were, my parents and so forth, very much respected dogs because of their loyalty and for other reasons. And cats were always considered to be snobbish, aloof, very self-serving and so on. So that was the impression I had. And now, though, that when I get to just sometimes spend some time, like our cousin has a beautiful cat, Gizmo, beautiful.
Shout out to Gizmo.
Shout out to Gizmo. Beautiful gray.
You know who you are.
Very, very, very handsome animal. And they're not distant. Like, Gizmo's very friendly. And so you see that other side of cats. I don't know what you think, but there is that other side. I don't understand it because the species as a rule, I think we all agree, tends to be the way we describe them. And yet, of course, you have these exceptions where there is a lot of, loyalty and a lot of warmth.
If my brother were here, would you have a different discussion?
Well, look, and when I say I don't particularly care for them, I happened to be in Greece this past summer, and I guess like in many parts of the world, cats are used for pest control. So if you're outdoors in certain cities or in certain areas, you will see myriad cats roaming freely. Why? Because they help keep the rodent population down.
Yeah, which is a good thing.
But the heat, it was 40 degrees Celsius. And the cats that were outdoors were lifeless.
Yeah, no kidding.
And you think people would leave, some water for them. And so I'm observing this and I'm thinking, I don't particularly care for cats, but I care for them more than many other people seem to, because I would never allow the cat to be in that type of situation. That's cruel.
Yeah. But did you notice? I don't know. Speaking of Greece, in some of the restaurants, like they have open doors to cats for the reasons that you explained, which is not a good sign
for rodent control
about the cleanliness of the place. But they have a lot of cats. And then, what I noticed as well is that they take good care of them. They put out water. Everybody feeds them. Like there's attention paid to them. So you see both sides.
Well, certain places would tell you not to feed them.
Yeah.
So they can be hungry to eat the rodents, I guess.
Yeah.
So there's one point about dogs I like to
put it out there.
Yeah, put it out there. Well, bringing dogs to work, to the office.
That's a good one.
Do you work in a kennel?
Well, that's...
Oh, my God.
Dogs to work, dogs to restaurants?
Yeah.
Well, so I'll make a distinction. Service dogs anywhere.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
that was
but what's a service dog
exactly.
these days? Because now everyone can
I think
slap
not an emotional support dog.
Okay, thank you.
With a doctor's note?
No,
No, doesn't cut it? No.
not for me.
Glad we cleared that up.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what? Place yourself in a situation where if you're going somewhere, you need to go somewhere, make sure that you can do so without having your emotional support dog by your
exactly.
side. If it's a 24/7 proposition, perhaps you should be hospitalized or institutionalized as opposed to roaming the streets.
I love it. I love it.
I wish I could read Pat's memos when he was working.
So that being said, there are people who have certain disability, it could be blindness or other, who need a dog, and it's perfectly appropriate for that dog to accompany them anywhere.
Yeah, seeing
100%.
Okay.
100%. But not emotional emotional
No, just
support.
now some of these Google companies, they call them, allow people to bring their pets.
Yes.
Mostly, obviously,
Yeah,
dogs.
because in some places, because they don't want the employees to go home. So they figure if your pet's with you, you'll put in even more hours at the office.
Yeah, well, which is not the case.
Self-serving type of...
Could be.
Because then you got to take them out to go do their business, and then people come by and pet your dog.
That's very much in style now
Yeah, well,
in the business world, no?
I don't like it.
Is it?
Offices that allow pets?
I've been out for a while, so...
Yeah, well, I've... You
Well,
know,
I mean, look, there is some. It's not widely, but I think it's ridiculous. Restaurants, forget it.
yeah,
That is definitely fuck no.
yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. Check out the podcast we did on pet peeves about that.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean,
Well, you feel differently?
No, well... Yes and no. It depends on the way the dog is behaved, quite honestly.
no.
So...
Because then it becomes too selective, I mean.
well, if...
Look, I know
let's-
my daughter, for instance, she takes her dog everywhere she possibly can.
Right.
So she'll frequent grocery stores that allow her to go with her dog. She'll go shopping for clothes in places that allow her to bring her dog in.
But her dog's about this big.
It doesn't
And she
matter.
could put it in her purse,
Well,
right?
but it doesn't really matter.
So my point or my counterpoint is you have to put the onus on the humans, not the pets. So if the human has a pet that's super well behaved, that can sit down next to you, not move, not make a sound, not whimper, not beg for food, not all of a sudden go crazy because there's another dog that's nearby, where you know the temperament of your animal and you're comfortable with that animal and taking them anywhere, then that, to me, that's great because it's not bothering anyone. The problem I have is with the selfishness of humans who don't have a dog like that, but still go out with them because they, I don't give a shit what anyone else thinks. This is my dog. And even if it misbehaves from time to time, I don't care about other people's dining experience.
So what percentage of humans fit in each of the categories you just described?
So I don't know. I'm just saying that to kind of brush everyone with the same brush maybe isn't fair. I would put it up to the restaurant owner to say, "Excuse me, sir, your dog is being unruly. I'm going to have to ask you to leave if the dog, I'm going to have to ask you to leave."
Right in the middle of the meal. It's not going to happen. That's the thing.
No, and you have to understand that for certain pet owners, that's as offensive as if you were there with young children who were being unruly.
Yeah.
And they came over and said, I'm sorry, your kids are like spoiling the dining experience for all our other patrons. I'm going to have to ask you to leave.
Yeah.
To some pet owners, there's an equivalence there.
By the way, is there something wrong with kids who are screaming at the top of their lungs to be asked to leave a restaurant?
Yes, because you just made the point for pets, which I'm not going to disagree with. And I think the same thing applies to parents. If you know that you have kids, and I'm not talking about something happens and your kid gets upset. I'm thinking there are some kids who
Are nightmares.
they are. They're just poorly behaved. And in any public setting, they're going to spoil the experience for others. You see it on airplanes, you see it in restaurants, you see it everywhere. And I don't blame the kid.
No,
Yeah.
It's the parents.
it's parents.
And I don't blame
And so
the
they don't
animal.
have the judgment where their kids are concerned. And I don't think many of them have the judgment where their animals or
Just-
pets are concerned.
Your point is well taken.
Just an animal,
taken.
An animal can be behaved, and then all of a sudden something triggers.
Yeah.
You're in a restaurant. They're not going to ask you to leave right in the middle of the meal.
Yeah, you're right. I'll reluctantly have to agree with you guys. It's too bad, but yeah, you're right. You're in the middle of a meal. You're not going to be asked to leave. You're going to be expected to pay your bill. So yeah, I got it. Got it. Doesn't work that way. Too bad.
And just in general, just to build on that point, you know, again, there are some animals, unfortunately, it's a function of their wiring or genetics, whatever, who, you know, are a menace to society in one way or another.
Yeah.
Chihuahuas.
But generally speaking,
Sorry.
yeah, generally
Boy, they're
speaking, the problem doesn't lie with the pet.
Yeah.
It's
breeding.
the pet owners,
Yeah.
generally.
Yeah.
Most of the time, you're right. And the way they're raised,
The way they're
absolutely.
raised, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's for sure.
Now, you touched on something earlier, and I think you made the comment tongue-in-cheek, Aki, but people who leave inheritances to their pets. What's the story?
And,
There's a few stories.
I guess their kids pissed them off.
Yeah, for whatever reason. No, there's some of that.
Yeah, of
Apparently,
course.
yeah. There's they don't want anything to do with their family, they leave their whatever they have to their pets. Now, I don't know what standing that has with the law.
It does.
How that plays out. So how does that work?
Well, it's a trustee, and the trustee administers it until
Until the pet dies.
Until the pet
and then what
dies.
happens after the pet dies?
well, then there's obviously the person leaves instructions for that as well.
I would hope so.
God.
Jesus.
So
Who
in some-
wants to sign up to be trustee?
Yeah, exactly. No, you know what? I don't have a problem with that. I mean, if they leave everything, yeah, it's ridiculous, you know. But it's easy to calculate how much the pet will need, you know, for the rest of his life, her life, or whatever, and then leave that, and then give the rest to charitable organizations or whatever.
PETA.
Yeah, people eating tasty animals.
You were going to go there. cue the Chinese restaurant again, Rand.
No, I prefer
Don't
steak.
do that, Aki. He doesn't need any help.
I don't need any more
I-
hate mail. I'm sorry, it was just a bad joke. That's all.
You have a problem with people leaving their pets money in their will?
No, I mean people. I mean it's up to the person. Whatever choice they make,
I think
as long as they're of a sound mind.
I think a
Well,
will,
clearly not.
yeah, yeah,
Especially
you're
if it's a
right.
cat.
But a will is so sacred because it's their will. It's what they want, you know, and what you can't go against that. So
And then, yeah, I don't know.
You gotta respect
could,
that.
Yeah, it could get crazy. I mean, can somebody leave, I don't know, leave their fortune to a goldfish? Would that be
well,
respected?
what's the difference? Yeah, goldfish.
I guess, I don't know.
Yeah, of course.
Okay,
When the goldfish is floating top, and
It's flushed down the toilet.
exactly.
But isn't it? I mean, that's really like a surreal world. I mean, when you
But
reach that level.
but that's the
I know.
exception.
That those
It's the
are
exception.
But
very, very
well,
exaggerated.
you say surreal world. There are people who care more about their pets than
Yeah.
they do their children.
Yeah, because they get unconditional love back from the pets that they've never gotten
I
from
can
anyone
relate,
else.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see.
You
that.
can relate.
I don't want to say no. I mean, I can see.
No one loves you unconditionally.
No.
do you know
Let me
what that-
clarify,
do you know
please.
what that turtle
Romeos,
meant
let
to
me
him?
clarify.
That was close.
Let me clarify. What I'm trying to say is, I see. Thank you. You're very welcome. Older people, I can see older people who are just, nobody's there for them. The kids basically just abandon them, and their last days or last years, they're in complete isolation, all alone. Nobody, no family there for them, and all they have is that faithful companion. In that situation, I can understand that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what
Yeah.
you're going to do.
Not that I'm relating to old people being abandoned. Everybody.
Yeah.
You're
I think I would find a charitable cause or,
Yeah,
something.
but
Cocaine and hookers. Sorry, hookers and cocaine.
For the pet.
No, for the last,
right.
for your last hurrah.
I think
And quite a hurrah it would be.
So,
There you go.
So in your case, and you gave the example of your daughter and little Rex, is there any kind of additional work that's foisted onto you to be there and
No,
step in
she's-
and babysit or pet sit or whatever?
Rarely. So
little-
I would say she's this is near. I have to give her credit where credit. She's an exceptionally responsible pet owner.
Well, that's great.
There are things that I perceive to be over the top in terms of what
Yeah.
she does for him. Would I do similar things for my dog? No. In terms of choice of food and how she cares for him, and it's
we can attest to that.
more than I would ever do.
We met Rex, and we can attest to that. That's one happy dog.
So there are
One happy, sweet
situations
dog. Who's
a good
where
dog?
she's visiting and she's going to step out,
dogs out.
and the dog can't accompany her, or she asks, "Would you be willing to
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
puppy sit?" And I
That's
say,
perfectly
"Yeah,
normal.
for
That's
sure."
perfectly normal.
And I'll take him for walks, and I'll enjoy his company. He's a lot of fun. But while he's with me, he's not necessarily getting the same treatment he would get from her.
Yeah. But he still loves you.
I'm not going to pre-chew his food and give it to him, right? I mean,
Wow, she does that.
well, I think when he was younger, she may have.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I've done puppy sitting for both my daughter and my son, and both dogs. I love them as well. And well, with the one's a Frenchie, French bulldog, so farts all the time. But it was just.
Oh,
I mean,
interesting.
Is that how you guys communicate?
yes.
A little symphony going there.
I wanted to see who could make the other's eyes water
Oh,
more.
stop it.
But he beats me all the time. Shout out to Lloyd.
Can I tell you a quick story?
Yes.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So, in memory of our beloved Jake, our golden.
Right.
So, we usually have the whole family over for Christmas dinner on the 24th. So, on Christmas Eve. And it became evident that somebody was passing food over to Jake under the table.
Okay.
Fast forward the morning of the 25th. We're normally up pretty early, and we were at that point because the kids were quite young, and so they were out of bed early. Let's go open our gifts, yada, yada, yada. But before anybody can get up, the alarm goes off in our house.
The fire alarm.
The alarm.
Oh.
We just have an alarm.
Okay.
And so Lisa wakes me up because it takes more than an alarm to wake me up. And she says, the alarm's gone off. Somebody broke into the house. And I said, I don't think anybody's broken into the house. So she's adamant. Somebody must have broken into the house. Somebody broke into the house. So I said, okay, you know what? Just gather the girls and I'm going to go check. So I check the entrance. I check the garage. I check downstairs, all the windows, all the doors, there's nothing. In the meantime, because the alarm sounded, the alarm monitoring company calls us. Mm-hmm. And so he says, is everything okay? Yes. He says, okay, we see that alarm went off. I said, yes. I said, look, I physically inspected the home. There's no one, there's nothing. Can you help? Like which sensor triggered the alarm? And so he tells me which one, which was in the family room. Mm-hmm. And I said, oh, and he said, do you have a fireplace there? And I said, yes. He said, check your fireplace because that sensor is for gas. You see where this is going? So I check the fireplace, which is a gas fireplace. Yeah. And I said, no, everything is, all the valves are shut off. And normally they add an odor so that you can tell if there's a leak, right? Nothing. And all of a sudden, I don't know why, the light bulb goes off in my head. And I start laughing. And the guy on the phone says, everything okay? And I said, I have a question for you. I said, would an animal's gas set off the alarm? And he starts laughing. And he said, it most certainly can.
There you go.
And so the culprit was Jake, who clearly had eaten food that caused him to
flatulate.
Public service
in a
announcement
way
from the
where he
ROMEOs.
set off the alarm.
There you go.
There we go.
You sure you weren't sleeping in the family room that night?
No.
That's
So I took what was his bed at the time and
You moved it.
moved it.
you gotta
Thank you,
admit
Pat.
that. That's an easy way to test that it works.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah. Yeah.
If you have a farting pet, yes.
anyway, so the rest of the family went
awesome.
from a state of panic to a state of,
So what's the solution? How do you prevent
Well,
this from happening again?
first of all, keep him away from that particular detector.
And don't pull his finger.
Anyhow.
That's a good story. I like that.
So guys, any other thoughts? Life of pets.
That's pets.
Well, pets are a wonderful thing for people. It's uplifting. It gives you a sense of belonging, a sense of love, a sense of compassion. They're the best things for people at any stage of life.
And you just described dogs.
yes,
Yeah.
cats too. Cats
Can
can be nice
Yeah,
too.
can be for sure.
They give you unconditional love, which you cannot get from any human being.
Really?
Yeah.
Think about
Wow.
it. You can't.
That was deep.
If a human being,
The love of a parent for their child is not unconditional?
well, maybe parents
Depends on the child.
Yeah, but like
You just answered the question. Thank you.
from your kids, your wife, there's always conditions there.
Huh?
Yeah. Well, how you treat pets says a lot about the kind of person that you are.
True.
So that means the fact that you haven't owned a pet other than a turtle says,
I'm not perfect.
really? Come on, Aki.
First time I've heard that
Bursting
one.
our bubble. Stop
Oh,
it.
I didn't have a turtle. It's a perfect animal for socialists. You don't have to do anything.
Yeah, my turtle Che.
All right, guys. Enough with pets. We love pets.
Love you, Che.
And we love our audience. Thanks for joining
you.
us. Hope
Cuba
you
Libre.
enjoyed.
Sorry. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. We'll see you next week.
Take care, Romeos.